Welcome to the third episode of My Little Fortune Cookie. So last week we learned how to count from 1 to 10 and that was a lot of work. So today I decided we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're not going to have a lesson. Instead, I'm going to introduce you to some of Chinese culture. And we're going to do that in future videos too. So you can always take a break after lessons. So August is coming up, and on August 2nd it's actually the Chinese version of Valentine's Day, and today I would like to share with you the story that goes behind Chinese Valentine's Day, which is also called Qixi. And for this holiday there's a lot of festivities. It's very important for couples, newlyweds and single girls, and there's a lot of activities, a lot of praying, going to temples, hoping for happiness, yeah. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the story. I also drew my own little illustrations to go along with it. Please don't mind the bad drawings, but I hope you guys have fun. Alright, let's go. Once upon a time, two stars in the heavens fell in love with each other. Theirs was a forbidden love because one of the stars, named Zhinu, was the Queen of Heaven's granddaughter. It wasn't long before the Queen of Heaven found out about their secret love, and when she did, she became so angry. She condemned her granddaughter to weave ceaselessly in the sky and banished her beloved from the heavens to keep them separated. Zhinu worked hard, hoping to gain the Queen of Heaven's forgiveness. She wove silk into beautiful clouds that billowed out across the sky and changed color with the changing seasons. As she worked, she thought of her lover, and when she wept for him, her tears fell from the heaven as rain. On earth, her beloved was born into a farmer's family and given the name Niulang. When he was still a young boy, both his parents died, and he was left in care of his older brother and his brother's wife. However, they were not good to him, and they sent him from the house with only an old ox to help him make his way in the world. Niulang and his ox companion worked hard to earn a living, and in time, Niulang saved enough to buy a small house for the two of them. One day, in the realm of the gods, several goddesses begged the Queen of Heaven to allow them to go swimming in a beautiful lake on earth. The Queen of Heaven was in a particularly good mood that day, and she agreed. As they were about to descend to earth, they saw Zhinu at her loom, weaving with a sorrowful expression on her face. They asked the Queen of Heaven if Zhinu could come along with them, and she agreed, as long as they would not stay at the lake for too long. On that same day, Niulang's old ox opened its mouth and spoke to him. Niulang had often spoken to the ox as they worked, but the ox had never responded with anything more intelligible than a grunt, which was all Niulang had expected of it. So he was shocked now to hear the animal speak to him in a deep voice. The ox said, "Niulang, you must go to the lake today. A group of fair maidens are coming to swim in the lake. When they are in the water, you must take the red clothes abandoned on the banks and hide them somewhere. If you do, the owner of the clothes will agree to be your wife." When Niulang had gotten over his surprise, he followed the old ox's advice. When the goddesses were out in the middle of the lake, far from the banks, Niulang ran to the pile of clothes they had left there, took the red garments from it, and ran off into the trees to hide them before the maidens could stop him. The goddesses saw Niulang, and all dressed and quickly escaped. Zhinu, however, could not fly away with them, as hers were the red clothes that Niulang had hidden, and she could not fly without them. When Niulang returned, she went to Zhinu on the shore and told her that he would return her clothes to her on the condition that she must promise to marry him. Zhinu looked at Niulang and found that there was something familiar about him, something she recognized, and after a moment spent looking into his eyes, she realized that he was her lover in human form. She agreed to marry him. They were happy together as a married couple, and their happiness went undisturbed for quite some time. Zhinu bore two children, a son and a daughter, and it seemed as though they could be able to stay together forever. One day, when Zhinu was cooking in the kitchen, Niulang arrived home in tears. He told her that the old ox had died. Before it died, the ox spoke to him again, telling him to skin it once it was dead. It said that its skin had magical properties and would allow Niulang to fly. Niulang did not wish to skin the ox, which he considered to be one of his closest friends, but he did as he was told and put the skin away in a safe place. In time, the Queen of Heaven realized that Zhinu was missing. Her anger flared up once again, and she ordered the gods to pluck Zhinu from earth and return her to her rightful place in the heavens. As Zhinu was carried up into the heavens in the clutches of the gods, she heard the voice of Niulang calling out from behind her. She looked back and saw that he was following them with their children in his arms and the skin of the ox on his back. The distance between them shrank as they flew through the heavens. When the Queen of Heaven saw that Niulang was catching up with the gods, she plucked a hairpin from her head and used it to slice open the sky between the lovers. In seconds, a mighty river had gushed out of the gash in the sky, separating Zhinu from her husband and her 2 children. Both Zhinu and Niulang wept because their happiness had been stolen from them once again. Their sorrow did not abate, and eventually even the gods began to sympathize with them. The Queen of Heaven was the last to be touched by their sorrow, but when she was, she made a concession to the lovers and allowed them to be reunited once a year on the 7th day of the 7th lunar month, when magpies would rise from the earth and form a bridge across the river for the lovers to cross. This is the story of NiulangZhinu, a story about romance that has been passed from generations to generations in Chinese history. I think out of all of the Chinese legends, that is one of my favorites. It's kind of weird and maybe kind of funny at some parts, but I really love it. It's so romantic and it's so sweet. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And before we end, don't forget we have to open a fortune cookie. So let's see what we have today. So today's Learn Chinese is cheap, 便宜. And the lucky numbers are 20, 4, 39, 5, 9, and 3. And our little fortune says, it's always worth taking the trouble to praise people. Of course it's worth it. We should always be nice to other people. That's the most important part. Alright guys, I hope you guys had fun today and I hope you enjoyed the story. So on August 2nd, be sure to go out there, find someone you care about, and tell them you really love them, because it's like a second Valentine's Day for the year. Alright guys, go out, learn Chinese, practice your Chinese, and have fun. 再见!